Joe, with so much chatter out there, how do you make sure that your guys are focused on the task at hand and not turning the page and what comes next?
I mean, there's chatter everywhere. So, I mean, just focus on the next game, the game plan, do what you got to do. So, they do a good job of that.
Can you take us through the challenge of the Horford block on Garland? What did you see there, and were you convinced it was clean?
Yeah, I mean, they said that it was contact to the head, and then we had an angle that it wasn't. So once we had that angle, we were comfortable challenging it.
And when you think of challenges, is your philosophy changed at all in the playoffs, or are you saving them? Like, how do you kind of manage your challenge?
No, same as the regular season, same process. What's the timeout situation? Whose mandatory is it? How many points can you save? All those things kind of go into it. Obviously, block charges are a little bit, they don't get turned over as much because it's a 50-50 call. So also dependent upon the call, but same process as the regular season.
Joe, Jason's pretty much been you guys' best rebounder throughout this series. Just can you speak to his impact on the boards?
Yeah, I mean, I think just his ability to impact the game in different ways. So, you know, with the matchups changing, a lot of the times he's on a 5 or a guy closer to the basket, and he's got to be able to box out, rebound, and he's done a really good job of that. So it's one of the points of emphasis against this team, and we got to make sure we continue to rebound at a high level.
Joe, I think last time we spoke with you before Game 4, you mentioned the previous night's games as reason to be, the harder playing team, the hardest teams win. I'm just curious, are there other lessons you get to take from other series going on in the playoffs? Obviously, understanding you're focused on this one, but just picking things up that might help you.
Just situational basketball. I mean, just learning in general. There's no one way to do it. Every team, the teams that are left play different, have different styles, different players. But watching, there's been a lot of close games, a lot of clutch games. So just taking on the situational examples that they have, things you can work on, things you can get better at, simulating those, watching them in film.
Joe, back here on your right. Jalen and Jason, after Game 4, kind of admitted that it took a little time on the floor to understand maybe some of the differences in Cleveland without Mitchell on the floor. If that happens again tonight, do you expect them to kind of be a little bit more prepared from the get-go?
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine so.
The reports out there that the Lakers are looking to interview Sam Cassell for their head coaching job. Just curious how you'd describe what he brings to your staff.
He's been on every seat on the bench in the NBA, so he knows how to communicate with every single player because he's been where that particular player has been. He's really, one of the first things he does when getting playing, watches film. Even though he's a former player, he's a guy that wants to study the game, learn the game, loyal, communicates well. He's a good coach, great coach. Happy to have him.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks.